Hey guys, Ninja here. Today I'm going to do a safety video on ladders. Mainly I want to put a couple safety videos out there. I'm going to do a lot of stuff on construction besides crafts, so I want to at least have the option of safety videos out there for you. So today's going to be on ladders. Basically the first thing, as any tool, respect it. It is a tool, just like a hammer, a nail gun, a saw. It's a tool. You got to respect it or you'll get injured. Anybody in the industry will tell you the moment you stop respecting the tool, whether it's that saw or that nail gun, is normally the moment you're going to see injury. The moment you get too comfortable is when you have that injury happen. So just respect it. First question to you is really, are you comfortable on a ladder? If you're not comfortable on the ladder, this should be the end of your video. You should at this point just call a professional, because whatever it is, it's not worth getting up on a ladder if you're not comfortable on a ladder. You will most likely injure yourself, and it's not worth the injury or the risk. So just call a professional if you're not comfortable. If you are comfortable, great. So how do you carry a ladder? We're going to carry it horizontally. Mainly the reason is, if you're carrying it horizontally, it's for the next two issues there, which are power lines and also being aware of your surroundings. If you're carrying it horizontally, less likely to run into anything. You can actually track where you're going with it. You can see where the head of the ladder is, and you can see where the tail is as well, so that you can at least see what you're going through, what you're walking around. If you carry it vertically, you're most likely going to run into those power lines. Never a good ending. Obviously, that's immediate connectivity to the ground, and you will get electrocuted. Severe injury, possible death. Do not do it. Carry it horizontally. Be safe. Many people in the industry who've been doing this stuff for years, same concept. They grab the ladder and like, you know what, it's only 10-15 feet, no big deal. I'm just going to chuck it along vertically, and that's the moment they run into that power line, and unfortunately that's normally severe injury. So do not do it. Carry the ladder horizontally. And then of course, being aware of your surroundings while you're walking with it. Is the ground wet? Are there shrubs in the way? Is there a fence in the way? All that stuff. Have the fence open, have everything ready so you can walk that ladder straight through there. And then just watch the tail so it doesn't get caught on something or hit the gutter or hit the side of the house, damage your paint, damage your house, something like that. If it hits the shrubs, drags you back, make you fall, again, injury as well. So just be aware. Know what type of ladder you have. So what type of ladder is it? Is it an extension ladder? Is it a A-frame ladder, step ladder, fold-out ladder, telescoping ladder? All those have different safety features and different locking mechanisms. Also, they have weight ratings. So make sure you're within that weight rating. Make sure that you know how each one of them locks in place for safety. Many stories of people with telescoping ladders collapsing on them, not good. Folding ladders, again, same thing. If they didn't have the locks in place, they flip up, the ladder collapses on them. Even the extension ladders have locks on each rung. It's got to go above that rung to lock in place. So know your ladder, know what the features are, know how it's supposed to operate before you get up on it. Know what surface you're on. Are you on the ground? Are you on concrete? Are you in your deck? So if you're on the ground, kind of like we talked about before, if it's wet, that can be a hazard, that can be an issue for you. Also, if the ground's wet or the grass is wet, you can't use the rubber cleats on the bottom, because that's rubber. It's really, if it gets wet, it gets kind of slick. So you'd have to flip the cleats out, stick the cleats, dig them in the ground, kind of step on the ladder, put it in place, just so it doesn't kick out on you. And then there's whether or not the ground's level. If it's level, great. If it's not level, you might have to go to a big box store and get the feet levelers. Basically, they just screw in, and then it allows you to adjust those feet. It's additional feet you're adding to your ladder that'll allow to adjust it to level. So that's the one way you can work around that if it's unlevel ground. As far as concrete, if you're on a concrete, it's normally going to be level, so that's really not an issue there. You're going to use the rubber part of the cleats, seat it properly, and then just make sure it feels comfortable when you're getting up on it so it doesn't rock back and forth. And then lastly, on your deck, that's probably one of the bigger issues. Is the deck painted? Does it have algae, mold, mildew, that type of stuff on it? All that's really hazardous, especially if there's any dampness or moisture on the deck. So if it's morning and there's a dew on the deck or something like that, that's moisture. As soon as those rubber cleats get on that, if it's the rubber and there's paint, it'll slide right on that. Same if there's algae or something like that. So just be real careful, be aware of that. Whatever you need to do, clean that off or secure the ladder in place so that when you're on it, it doesn't kick out. That's mainly what you want to make sure you're doing. These two over here did some horrible diagrams. Basically, this is when you're putting up the ladder, you want to be arm's length. So you're going to put the bottom of the feet at your feet. So the tips of your toes, you're going to put those feet, and you're going to hold that top ladder at arm's length. And basically what that's going to do is give you just about the right angle you need to get up on the roof that's safe. You may adjust it a little bit, but that's normally pretty close to where you want to be. The reason you don't want to do it too steep, so if you do it too steep and say the angle's like this, then what's going to happen is, instead of when you're walking up this ladder, all this weight is being transferred to the ground. The moment you do it this way and it's too steep, you're putting more weight onto the house. So if you're going up on your gutter, you're going up on the side of your shingles, whatever you're going up on, you're going to actually cause damage to those gutters and collapse them, or cause damage to the shingles. Now, while we're talking about that, normally I put the ladder on the gutter. Reason for that is, if you put it on the shingles, you're going to break those shingles, cause damage to the shingles. I try to avoid that. The gutter, you still have to be careful, but you can do it without collapsing the gutter. Just look for where the spikes are, where the supports are. You can take your ladder, put it up there, and then step on it while it's up there. You'll see if the gutter bows in or not. If it does, shift it over maybe a foot until you find that good support point, and then you're safe to go up the ladder. But just, again, be aware of that when you're going up the ladder too. And then the last thing here on ladders, do not cross this plane while you're on the ladder. So if this is the ladder, you're going up the rungs of the ladder, do not cross this plane, which is the edge of the roof, because the moment you do, this becomes a fulcrum. So it's kind of like the old teeter-totters. The moment you put too much weight up here, this wants to pivot this way, which means the bottom of the ladder kicks out and it folds this way, which means you're going to fall off the ladder, or you're going to be stranded on the roof with no ladder. So just do not go above that point with your weight on the ladder. So once you get real close to the ladder, just step off onto the roof. Once you're on the roof, you're fine. But just, again, the weight on the ladder, just make sure you're not doing that. One last thing I want you to think about is, when you put your ladder up here, it's resting on the gutter, go ahead and take a bungee cord up there with you. One of the easy tricks that I've always done is just to make sure the ladder doesn't slide off. Potentially when you're getting off the roof, if you put too much pressure sideways, or maybe when you're coming down to the ladder, you kick the roof with your foot trying to get on it, knock the ladder off. This prevents that from happening. But just take a bungee, wrap it around the actual rungs of the ladder, and then around your gutter supports. That'll protect you from the ladder sliding off and falling off, and you being stuck on the roof with no ladder as well. So just do that. Take one with you. Real easy to do. Again, just a bungee cord. And that's it. Hopefully that's some good information for you. You got some good safety tips. Hopefully you learned something. If not, at least it was a refresher for you. Be safe.